Unlock your hips and help prevent injury using these 10 exercises, targeting the hips, the thighs, and other important parts of the body. This series should be fairly easy to do in 10 minutes or less and require no equipment. We'll start with the Bretzel Hold. We're going to start on the floor laying on our side, in this case, the left side. We're going to bring the bottom leg and flex our knee to connect with our right hand, and cross over our top leg to connect with our left hand. We'll distribute these forces along 3 areas. The first is pushing the top knee toward the floor to get a good stretch of the right glute. The next is a pull of the left foot to get a good stretch over the left quad and the hip flexor. The last force involves a rotational component of the thoracic spine by pulling the right shoulder toward the floor, mobilizing the often immobile thoracic spine. For the posterior hip mobe, you want to start on all fours. Bend the knee and flex the hip to tuck in the same side leg of the target hip on top of the opposite knee. Then shift your weight back to lengthen the back of the hip. Oscillate back and forward, but with control. Now with the frog stretch, you want to stay on all fours, but keep your knees separated a bit farther than usual until you feel a stretch on the inside of the thighs. Rock back and forth, keeping your hands and knees in place. Similar to the frog stretch is the long adductor frog stretch. Bring your leg out, but keep your torso squared and parallel to the floor. Rock back and forward, feeling a stretch on the inside of the thigh muscle belly. This is a sensitive part of the leg, so move slowly. Now for the hip rotations, you want to stay in all fours and keep your torso squared facing the floor. Keep the torso tight and completely still from beginning to end of this movement. Begin by lifting the knee toward your belly, then have the knee travel out as far as possible and then bring it as far back as possible. Push through the extremes here, but in control. Return to the start position, going back the same way. Compensating is an easy thing to do in this exercise, so keep in mind to only move the hip joint and nothing else. Start in a relaxed half-kneeling position. Engage the core, feel the abdomen shorten the space between the pelvis and the ribs. Engage the glutes to help tilt the pelvis and feel the tug along the front of the hip or in front of the thigh. Continue as you relax and engage and relax for the desired amount of reps. Start in a forward lunge position, like a runner's pose. Keep your back foot planted as far back as possible. Cross the same side hand as your lead leg across the chest and dip down until you feel a deep groin stretch. And rotate the thoracic spine toward the side of your lead leg. Hold for about 2 seconds and repeat. Now the modified standing triangle is very similar to the world's greatest stretch. They both start in runner's pose position, but this time, one of the hands grabs hold of the ankle and the body rotates on the opposite side of the lead leg. Keep your back foot perpendicular to your front foot, and make sure when you start rotating, you stay up there for about 3 to 5 seconds before you come back down. You keep your elbow positioned next to your knee to keep that groin stretch in place. The hip 90-90 is fairly difficult and challenging, but it could definitely get better with practice. Bend the knees at 90-degree angles. Face your torso away from the direction of movement. Use the inside of your toe from your other leg to create the momentum needed to lift the knee off the ground. Dig the heels down and keep your toes up. The hip should be the joint primarily at work here, although it does require tensioning of the entire body to stay upright and move to the opposite side. The last of the bunch is a squat to hamstring stretch. Start in a deep squat position, grab the back of your ankles, and bring your hip up and down as you feel a little tug in the back of your hamstrings. However, don't do too much where you start feeling some tension behind the knees. Remember to perform each exercise on both right and left sides, not just one side. This is designed to help prep the body prior to movement. It should not be seen as a passive stretching series. You are training muscle. Therefore, you can definitely be sore as you progressively increase hip mobility over time. So make sure you consider volume if doing after a workout.